Hey everybody, welcome to this week's video. My name is Nicole Severson and let's get started. So this week we're going to talk about how to connect comfort foods to emotional eating. So we're going to discover together what your comfort food is and maybe what emotions are triggering it and possibly even a story behind it. So let's get started. So the first thing I would ask you to do is grab a pen and paper. If you have time, take notes. If you need to pause this as we go, that's an option as well, always. And the first question I will ask you is, what is your comfort food? So for me, I crave like cheesy, carby, like cheese bread or pizza. Let's just be straightforward here. But any kind of cheesy carb is a really strong craving that I get. So like a savory, salty. So take a moment here, think about your craving, your type of food that you crave. Some people, it's sweets. They get a sweet tooth, maybe for cupcakes or some kind of, squishy sweet texture in their mouth. Some people, it's potato chips. So take a moment here, maybe it's ice cream, I don't know. But take a moment and think about what your comfort food is. And just think about maybe how that comfort food makes you feel just thinking about it. So you might get like ooh, I'm gonna go eat that. Thanks for making me think about it. All right, and so the second question I have for you is, how often do you crave it? So a lot of people crave sweets, especially every day, especially late at night, maybe after dinner. I know for me, depending on what's going on with my schedule and my stress levels, I can crave the cheesy, savory, salty carb every day sometimes, depending on what's going on for me. So think about that for a moment. Is it a daily craving? Is it weekly? Is it maybe like once a month that you're like, wow, I really want to have bacon, or whatever it is that you crave? And write that down if you have a pen and paper with you. And then the third question for you is, what emotion is tied to this craving? So if you pace yourself back, and maybe you're having a craving right now or had one already today, think about the most recent time you had a really strong food craving, like the kind where you're like, I have to have this, or like things aren't going to be okay. Because we do get those cravings, especially when we're really stressed out. And just take a moment and think about, maybe pause, close your eyes, take a breath, and feel about what emotion was tied to the craving. So it could be pain, fear. Stress is definitely a trigger for our bodies to crave sweet, salty, fatty foods, because it helps our body try and deal with these strong stress signals. But if you can dig a little bit deeper and see if this anxiety, maybe anger, tap in a little bit deeper to see what the root emotion is to the foods that you're craving. So if you need to pause this and maybe do like a little bit of a meditation, close your eyes and just come back to the most recent time you've had a craving, and really tap into, was I looking for, safety or security or a feeling of fullness? Sometimes we stuff ourselves to feel full, or maybe to not feel anything at all. So take just a few minutes, maybe pause this and write down whatever your root emotion is for your eating, and take a moment to review these. So look at what your comfort food is, how often you crave it, and then what the root emotion is. So I'll share a personal story for me with my cheese and pizza addiction that I can say that I no longer am a victim to, but I associated the feeling of eating pizza with comfort. And when I dug deeper, the comfort was a safety, and I was eating it and craving it when I felt fear, or that I wasn't secure in something, whether it was a relationship or financially. And when I tapped in deeper, I actually realized that after my parents had gotten divorced when I was a child, where we lived in our house, sometimes, my mom would come home late from work, and it would be super hot in our house during the summer, and so we would either go out for dinner or order pizza, and it was just easy. And for me, I associated that with a feeling of togetherness and safety at that time in my life. And when I actually took the time to really look at that craving and where that feeling of security came from, I actually was able to link it back to that feeling of safety and security from family dinners after my parents had gotten divorced. So if you have the time to really take a look at that, you can often find a root emotion and even a story behind a food, because if you think about it, our food is very cultural, it's very familial, and we are raised eating certain things. And when we associate those foods with happiness or sadness, if you're celebrating as a kid with cupcakes and cakes for birthdays and holidays and everything else, you might have a sweet tooth craving and when you're feeling sad or depressed or anxious, you might go crave that sugar because emotionally and physically you have that memory, and that it's going to feel good, even if you don't feel good after you eat those things. So I hope that this isn't too heady for you, but I do know that this will help you connect whatever comfort food you're reaching for to emotional eating. And the more that you can become aware of it, the more you're able to be aware while you're doing it, and then slowly move into bringing that awareness before you go eat those foods, and then are able to actually make better, healthier options. I hope that this helps you this week, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. If you have any comments or questions about any of the emotional eating and how to connect that to comfort foods, please write in the comments below or email me. I love to answer questions. So take your time and ask me anything you need. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week.